Hello, YouTube. All right. I am out making a few runs here. Before I go back to the house, I'm going to make this video. I'm a bit inspired to make this video actually by a student. We spoke about this issue for a whole hour last night. And basically what happened was he went to a bookstore with his wife. And he met, I guess there was a middle-aged woman who spoke Japanese there, and she was able to communicate with his wife, and he was discouraged. He was intimidated and discouraged by her level of speaking, her level in Japanese. He was basically comparing his Japanese to hers. Okay? And this is dangerous. I think this is very, very dangerous when you're starting online, especially if you're a beginner who don't have experience learning languages. It's very dangerous to compare yourself to someone. You see someone who's on a high level, they're able to speak the language fluently, but you can't yet. You're like a month or 2 months in the language. You can't do that. You cannot do that. That is so dangerous. The person who you compare yourself with more than likely spent a long time learning the language. They lived in the country. They probably went to university, studied there for many years, did a study abroad program. Then after they graduated, perhaps they moved over there and got a job using the language. They were immersed in the language. They gained experience living in the country using that language. Whereas you've been in Japan before, but you never studied Japanese seriously. Just now getting into Japanese. There's no comparison, and you shouldn't even make any comparisons. I don't understand why people would do something like that. To me, I don't know. Like, if it was me, I would be more inspired than discouraged, because I look at this person, especially if he's of the same ethnicity as I am. If we're from the same country, and he's speaking that well, then that should inspire me. Say, wow, there are really other people out there who are interested in learning Japanese or Chinese like I am here. Especially if you're American, because it's not very common. So I will be more inspired than discouraged. Okay. Now, another thing you could do is, if you have a situation like that, ask the person how they learn a language. Ask them, hey, you speak really well. Where did you learn? And more than likely, they're going to go into details and tell you where they learned the language. They tell you they lived over there. They tell you they got a job over there. They worked over there for a while, And, once you get that information, there's nothing to feel bad about, because they had the chance. They had that chance to utilize that language, especially in the targeted country. That is a huge comparison. A very, 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 very dangerous thing to do. So, like I said, we spoke about it yesterday, and I just tried to give him some advice and, share my experiences with him when it came to that, because I've had some experiences similar to his, or similar to that one. Like, as far as meeting someone or seeing someone who spoke a language like they were really good, and I was still on a low level, And I just told him, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything at all. I just, I asked I think this was for Japanese too, back in the day in Akron. We went to Kent State. Kent State that's Japan. That's where all the Japanese students go. But they had a whole bunch of Japanese students there. And a couple guys, they were in a Japanese program, and they spoke Japanese fluently. Like, when we went up there, they were sitting at the table just conversing with the Japanese, like just all in Japanese. And we would be there, and we would try to practice what we knew, and we'll ask them, like, man, where did you guys learn Japanese? They told us, yeah, we've been in the program for a couple years, and we went to study abroad. We spent time over in Japan, and then it was just like, wow, that's pretty cool. You guys did a really good job. There was really no discouragement from that, and like I said, it was more of like inspiration to work harder, to see another foreigner achieve such a good level in the language. That inspires me more, makes me want to work harder. So you can't make these comparisons. You got to look at the whole picture. It's all about looking at the whole pictures, and there are always reasons why things are the way they are. What do I mean? As I explained, someone who is better than you, there's a reason why they're better than you. There's a reason why they're better than you. They either have more experience. They either have more experience than you when it comes to language learning, or being in the country itself, using the language. If it's someone who, like, okay, let's just say you study language for 2 months. You met someone who studied language around the same time, but they still speak better than you. Once again, first of all, they must have more experience when it comes to language learning. They must have a good attitude. Their attitude must be good. They had experience. That can play a big role in this thing. So attitude is really it's up there. Attitude is up there. Bad attitude will affect your learning. You got to get rid of the bad attitude. I'm not saying you or anybody has a bad attitude. I'm just saying, if you don't have this right attitude when it comes to language learning, it can affect your progress. I'm gonna have to make a video about this, going through the essentials, the essential things you would need when starting on a language. It doesn't matter how many resources you have. Doesn't matter how many good teachers you have. You can have the best teacher in the world. You can have the best teacher in the world, but if your attitude isn't right, if your attitude isn't on point, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. This is the psychological makeup of a lot of language learners who are trying to learn language and then eventually give up. So this is why I always stress in the community that we need more people who have this experience learning languages to, make videos and encourage those who don't have the experience like we have. This is essential, because the psychological barrier that you think it's hard learning a language, the psychological barrier is a hard thing to overcome. It's hard to get rid of that. It's very, very difficult. A lot of people have this problem. They just can't get past it, and that's going to hinder their progress. They're not going to be able to learn a language. So that's why, if you're an experienced language learner, try to reach out. I like what my student Jeremiah says. I like what he said. It's a what did he say? A spiritual lifeline or something like that. It's like a spiritual lifeline. Helping someone out who was they're having a difficult time overcoming this psychological barrier, because that's what it boils down to. So that's it. Like I said, I was inspired to make this video by a student, and I just want to talk a little bit about this. But I don't know. I'm sure there are more people out there with similar experiences. How many of you have had this experience? Like you learn a language, you saw someone who spoke really well. They even had the accent down, and you were learning that same language, and you just said, "Man, I can't do that. I'm going to give up. I'm going to stop." Had this ever happened to you, or were you inspired? I would like to know, and I would like to hear, and I think this will be a good video for not only my student, but for other people who are in the same boat. They have the same problem. So yeah, that's it. Get back to my driving, get back home, and let me know what you guys think, and I look forward to any video responses or just regular replies in the comment area. So thanks for viewing. Talk to you guys here shortly.